Hey everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hello everybody, welcome to Gregsbeerreviews. Today's beer, we're continuing with our wheat stouts. This is the Stone Wheat Stout, Drew Curtis, Will Wheaton, Greg Cook, Stone Farking Wheaton Wheat Stout. This is the 2017 edition that was sent to me by Brandon. Of course, Beer Advocate clumps them all together and they have it, like I've told you on the other reviews, at 11.5%. That's absolutely wrong because they clump them all together. All the ones that I have had have been 13% or bigger. So I don't know where they're getting their ABV rating. It's wrong. So they're in the showers. They're out of here. Untapped does have the 2017 edition at 13%, 65 IBUs. They said this barrel-aged palate saver has been a favorite among our fans and us since its inception in 2013, and we did do a review of 2013. Pecan Sweet Flake Rye Bourbon Soaked Wood provides a whopping complex superhero version of Imperial Stouts in that they use in the same description year after year. Complexity that makes ideal for cellaring if you can wait that long. Special thanks to legendary comics artist Walt Simpson, who illustrated this year's label to support the Hero Initiative. I do find these beers, this series of beers, very tasty, guys. And the 2017 edition here in a 22-ounce bomber, I think the new edition is in a 12-ounce. So they've downsized it and probably charging you just as much for the beer as they did this, but I haven't bought any of them, guys. So they've been all sent to me. So Brandon, thanks a bunch for sending it to me. Don't think there's anything else we need to talk about. It does have 2017 on the side of the bottle here in bright yellow ink, 6/23 of 17, and the bottle's on date. So, and they're silkscreen printed up bottles, so they're not going to use them over and over again. They usually change the graphics on them from year to year. So let's see what this brings. I am a big fan of these beers. They are very tasty. They are blended beers, so you're not getting 100% bourbon barrel aged beer, which is my biggest fuss about that. When they blend beers, you lose some of that bourbon barrel notes because they're putting a lot of beer in there that's not bourbon barrel aged. So just my opinion though there, guys. So let's get on with this final beer of the evening for me, and let's find out what this beer is about. Let's see if it's just as tasty as the ones I've had predecessor to it. Down the center we're going to go on this. And there we go. About a half a finger of head on that pour. Good looking beer. Now it's almost a finger of head there now. Pitch black, guys. Very, very dark. Good looking stout. To the nose we go. Rich roasted malt. Hints of bourbon. Not off the chain bourbon, but the hints of bourbon. Caramel, toffee, black molasses. Maybe a little bit of some dark fruit in there. Not much. When it's cold right out of the fridge, you don't get a lot of that. Maybe a slight hint of some bittersweet chocolate. A really good smelling beer. And that was very nice. Very similar to, if I was guessing, they're using the same recipe year after year, guys. Because they're using the same commercial description year after year. So I'd say it's a pretty successful beer for those guys. Smells good. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Brandon. Thank you. Very tasty. Nice roasted malt. Slight hint of some bourbon. The bourbon is not off the chain, guys. If you're looking for big bourbon notes, there are a lot of beers that have more bourbon notes than this. But being a blended beer, you lose some of that when they put beer in there that's not been in bourbon barrels before. It's not 100% bourbon barrel aged. But, you know, that's what they're wanting to do. They're not wanting to have the bourbon overpowering everything. Me personally, I want the bourbon overpowering everything, because you're paying a premium price for a bourbon barrel aged beer, whether it's blended or 100% bourbon barrel aged. So, but still a very decent, tasty beer. But I will say the bourbon is there, but it's, to me, it's a little on the subdued side since it's a blended beer. But still very tasty, very enjoyable. I don't know what this beer costs to buy. And like I said, I think the new bottles are 12 ounces instead of 22, because a lot of breweries have realized when they introduce beers, they could either reduce them from 6 packs to 4 packs, or from 22 ounces or 750 down to 12 ounces, and make the same amount of money for less beer. They're in the business to make money, guys. So that's what it's all about. And 12 ounces is more easily consumable for one person as opposed to a 22, unless you're just wanting to drink a big monster beer and catch a big buzz. It is a tasty beer, guys. I don't think it's any more impressive than any of the rest of the W00t Stouts that we've done so far. They all are very, very similar, but they are putting the bottle on date instead of some best by or used by or best before or any of those kind of dates. But being an Imperial Stout, it's not super critical, because those beers are going to sell very well and going to last for a while. But I do appreciate them putting, stamping a bright yellow ink on the side, telling us the month, day, and the year that they put this in the bottle. So that goes a little bit further in my book than just putting a vintage on it and not knowing if it was done the first of the year, middle of the year, end of the year, and not knowing exactly how old the beer is, especially if you want to do a vertical of 2 different years or whatever there, guys. So very tasty beer. It is. But we're going to let it warm up, come up to room temperature, and we'll come back and we'll give it a grade and see where it ends up. Like we always do. Yeah, that's what we do. That's what we do here. I'll be right back. Alright, guys, I'm back. Been sitting on for about an hour or so. This is basically the same impressive note to me as all the previous years. If you're looking for a big off-the-chain bourbon notes, this is not going to have it. They're very subtle. They're there, but they're very subtle. There are better bourbon barrel-aged beers than this, being 100% barrel-aged, where this one is a blended beer, guys. To me, it tastes very similar to everything else I've had in this series. A very tasty beer, but not outstanding or world class. I do appreciate them putting the month, day, and the year in a bright yellow ink on the bottle. But it is what it is. Very enjoyable. For a 13%, the alcohol is very well hidden. A very tasty beer. Final chug. Very nice beer. A very, very nice beer. 95 for me, guys. Solid A beer. Not to the A plus. There are better bourbon barrel aged beers out than this, being 100% bourbon barrel aged and not a blended beer. So, and like I told you before, yeah, I've got clumps of them all together and don't even have the right ABV. Less said they're in the shower. Take a dip. They're out of they're out of here. We're not even going to talk about them. They are getting more useless every day. Untapped has it at 13% for the 2017, which is this one is. They have it at 4.15, which is their A- scale. I'm giving it a little bit better grade because they have stamped on the bottle in bright yellow ink month, day, and year. That carries a little weight with me, guys, knowing when it was put in the package, whether it's a can or a bottle, being able to see that, and knowing when in that year it was done, first of the year, middle of the year, end of the year, and they're telling us that. So that's why they're getting a better grade from me. But there are better bourbon barrel aged beers out there, guys. There is. But this is a very tasty beer. Very enjoyable beer. So Brandon, thanks again for sending it to me. Guys, if you've had the 2017 edition of the W00t Stout, let me know what you think. Still an impressive beer. But anytime you buy a bourbon barrel beer, whether it's blended or 100% in bourbon barrels, you're going to pay more for that because it's setting in the brewery in those barrels for whatever length of time that they want to let it set to where they think it's prime to do their bottling or canning of it. So, very tasty beer. Not the best bourbon barrel aged beer I had, but a very tasty beer nonetheless. So, if you've got the 2017 edition of the W00t Stout, let me know what you think. Till we meet again, let's go see what's in the fridge.